Howdy diddly.
How we doing?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Give me 1 minute. Need to set this up.
Do. And it was so late.
Okay, I need to screw back in. Okay, hold up.
What?
You'll see what I mean in a second here. Let me pop this out. So whenever I go to record videos, I unplug my microphone entirely and plug it into my phone. But because of that, I have to unscrew it every single time from the arm mount.
Oh, okay. Do you see any of that DK series?
I did not. I have not had. We've been so busy with work that normally, like, I'll go through and like put on LCK playoffs or like especially this time of year, like catch up on some of the best of fives. I've not had the time to whatsoever. I didn't even finish Hotline League today, which is abnormal for me. Normally, I at least get all the way through that. Why is it good? I know it went to 5 games, but
yeah, I mean they were pretty good. I mean, there wasn't like a ton of action. It was typical Korea. It was more just the afterwards stuff that was crazy. That was more interesting.
Why?
Because it was dramatic. Just watching Showmaker be sad.
Oh.
Because he lost to Canyon.
I mean, get good. I don't know what to say.
Okay. Showmaker's pretty good.
Showmaker's pretty good. But
Good.
He's no APA. I mean, he's not going to be at MSI, is he?
He's not going to be there yet.
Oh yeah, I forgot they... Oh wait, is it double elimination for them?
Yeah.
Okay, so he still has time.
Yes. Yeah, he has another shot.
Okay. Let me share this. Thoughts on the new camera angle, by the way?
I like it. It's good.
It prevents the top of my head from constantly being shown as I continuously lose hair. So.
Is that why you're doing it?
Low key, yeah. I got tired of looking at it and getting self-conscious of myself
I know.
Of it slowly having this.
You have to change where your light is.
What do you mean?
Oh, just your color change in light?
Oh, yeah.
I guess it's fine. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have it on for much. I mean, it's just there for like general light in the room. The backdrop's the more important part. Although I am getting kind of washed out in terms of color on the side of my face. I don't know. Let me see. Let me switch this up real quick.
No, I've just been enjoying watching the memes and stuff from the LCK stuff because those were good. The Vietnamese stuff was really interesting. The fact they even bothered to play.
that's gonna be an interesting conversation for us to tackle.
Yeah, I don't. I'm trying to think of the words because I don't hate it necessarily, but I don't agree at all. I do hate it necessarily.
I don't hate it, but I'm slowly gonna convince myself that I hate it.
It's terrible. Like I get in their minds, right, they owe it to the players. So they're going to do this, blah blah blah. We owe it to them. Murmur. But in reality, does it do anything for players for you to
The only people that you owe anything to is the fans. That's literally
Yeah,
it.
that's true. That's true too.
Anything
'Cause
beyond that, you really kind of don't.
you're kind of screwing the players here because somebody's going to get a title that really shouldn't count. Like the top laner in the game. So I should save it for when we're actually on.
No,
or how are
we're
we
on.
live?
Yeah, we're live.
Oh, we are okay. Then I'll say the top laner for the Vietnamese team is a solo queue kid. This is his first game. So that is just completely random. And then the other team, for Levi's team, at least for GAM, they're playing with a mid and an ADC who are both subs from their other team, their academy team, I guess.
Yeah.
And one of them is like just a terrible mid laner who they never thought they'd ever have to play with. Ever. So GAM is just lost because their mid and their ADC just aren't that good. They got beat by a team called Viking Esports that Sophom owns, or is
Oh
a
yeah, and
co-owner
Sophom
of.
came back to play.
Yeah, and he played. So Viking had a top laner who's a solo queue kid who they just brought in. They brought in their sub jungler, and then Sophom played support.
Jesus.
And their mid and their ADC were like, which are probably, if you pro play speaking wise, if you have to pick two roles, I would say GAM got screwed over more than Viking.
Because they had to replace
Because
the two most important.
yeah, your skill positions, like I mean, using a football term, skill positions are the most important positions. Like that would be like being forced to drop either Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes instead of having to drop like your O line, I guess. Like your O line's important, but a great QB or great mid laner can make up for a lot of things.
Yeah. Really quick, just Rylus. Thank you for the prime and the follow. So VCS playoffs is just going to be a crapshoot then. Like we have no clue who's going to win. We have no clue like what it's going to look like at all. It's impossible to predict.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't gamble on it.
Well, turns out many of their players already did, so too late.
True. Okay. Well, hold up. Do you think a couple of them still are?
Oh,
like,
probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
They're so addicted.
Be like, look, the pressure's off me now. Now I can do it. Like everybody else got caught. Like the smoking guns there, like they're fine. Like let me create a fresh account now, and all of a sudden, I'll be fine.
I read an interesting thing that the VCS is talking about, which I don't know if this is true. These are all rumors, and I don't speak Vietnamese, so I can't read what they're saying. But I saw that they're talking about just sending like an all-star team almost, or like whatever team qualifies, just sending more qualified players and putting them together under that banner, so that banner gets the exposure, but it's
Riot's got to shut that shit down immediately.
I mean, they would.
Imagine the precedent that sets. NA doesn't go. All of a sudden, it's like, you know what?
Yeah.
Damn, Jojo Pyun's gotta go. Like he's still gotta get on a team. Sorry, APA, or well, in this case, probably sorry, Jensen. Like Jojo Pyun's just gonna reteam with Inspired. It's not like we, whoops, oops.
Here's my question too. If you do that and you send them, does it look even worse if they get beat bad, or is it kind of like they didn't have time, they haven't played together type of deal, or do you just go like, oh, that's terrible, like that's all they got?
I don't know,
like, but that's not good at all.
I'll tell you what I would do. I would show up to MSI with a sign saying, something along the lines of, "You can't bet on this game, but I can." DraftKings for the win.
Oh man. Oh man.
Or find their usernames that they were using for the bets and just put money line on X. And just like come up with as many like, oh man. Top laner,
Yeah.
top laner can hit a parlay in game, but can't hit it or
Oh my gosh.
because I'm trying to think of how you can relate the GP's parlay. The barrel, the like parlay in the barrels.
Barrels, yeah.
Parlay your barrels, not your games, idiot.
I mean, it sucks for them really bad. Like I was reading it all and I was just going like, man, dude, they're never gonna stop getting made fun of for this one.
Nope.
And two, like, this is crazy. Like they're honestly I'm shocked they just didn't chalk it and that scene's not dead. Like I don't know how they recover because most of the challenger players over there now are ineligible to ever come back, probably.
Probably.
Like after this investigation finishes, I highly doubt they are.
The whole scene's gonna be like, if you're right, you are just
Yeah.
better off folding it in to something else. Like, don't waste your
Almost,
time.
yeah.
Don't even try. Like, there's no point.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting because I mean, some of the videos they showed were like, it was pretty bad. I saw one, and this dude walks out like he's about to. So he muscle memory clicks the which I can't remember if this was a Chinese one or a Vietnamese one, like from this actual thing. But I saw like, oh no, it was OCE. So there was a guy who went to OCE to play, and they caught him betting on his own games, and he got banned from OCE. But I saw it was a good example of how like muscle memory will even fight a great player from doing it. So he's trying to die on Karma. He ends up accidentally shielding himself to save his life, and then like stops, realizes what he did, walks back in and dies. With like
Jesus Christ.
50
Are
HP.
you kidding me?
Yeah, and so they ban him.
Oh my god. Come on.
But yeah, I didn't even know like sports betting, or I guess, well, it is sports betting. Sports betting was this bad in esports, and like dudes were doing it this much for a paycheck. I mean, I get it because, well, I don't want to say I get it because they
No,
shouldn't be
because
doing. But
it's
yeah,
fair
if
to
you
say
need
that
the
you
money.
you understand how the conditions could be there for this to happen.
Oh yeah,
It's the fraud triangle. That's ultimately what it is. It's pressure,
Mhm.
opportunity, and rationalization. There's pressure to
Yeah.
do it because you need to make more money. There's an opportunity to do it because there's nothing stopping you from doing it
Mhm.
other than just your own, like, this is wrong and the rules say it's wrong. But
Mm-hmm.
rules don't fully, like, it's not like it's that bad. Like, until you get caught, technically there's no issue with it. And then the was it rationalization, opportunity, and or pressure. I already said pressure, and the rationalization is I'm not getting paid enough.
Mhm.
So
No, true.
every bit of that triangle is there. So it
Yeah.
shouldn't be a surprise to anybody that they do it. Now, that's the second most surprising thing I've heard out of OC this week. But, you know,
That's the most surprising.
a guy posing as a 13-year-old to message underage girls. The FlyQuest strategy coach that got removed prior to this past weekend's games.
Oh.
Wait, you didn't know that?
No.
Yeah. Okay. So
No.
let's get this out of the way now, because I've seen every other. Well, first and foremost, welcome everybody to the Crossover Podcast, episode 120. Paul, myself, you know the deal. So one of the things that happened going into this weekend that a lot of people are now taking away from Team Liquid and blaming like basically giving FlyQuest the out to a certain extent, is because on Friday it came out that the strategic coach under Nuke Duck, or like he basically was in charge of drafting and their general strategy and would be the guy that would help them prep for Team Liquid. He got caught, or well, it was known that he was doing this years ago, like 4 or 5 years ago before he even joined FlyQuest. But somebody put it out there that he was posing as a 13-year-old messaging underage girls.
Oh, so old habits die hard situation.
Well, no, it's like he didn't. It's not
Oh, he
like
just never quit.
well, no, we
Oh,
don't know if it's ongoing. We don't know if he's still doing it. The point was that the only thing that we knew was the accusations were that he was doing it years ago when he was an OCE, and it was a well-known thing.
oh,
So FlyQuest, understandably, put him on leave
yeah,
and basically say like, nah, until we figure it out, then I don't know. But I mean, we'll
yeah.
see what comes out of this. I don't want to assume anything. We'll find out who knows what. Hopefully it's not swept under the rug in any way, but like, yeah, it definitely had an impact on FlyQuest this weekend. But I'm sorry, anybody saying that like that's the reason why they're so shit, like, really? They lost him a day beforehand. A day.
Yeah.
Like, I get if he's doing the majority of drafting on stage, like maybe it makes, a pretty. I'm not saying that it doesn't make a difference, but like,
No, that's
it's
pretty.
not. It's
That's
not.
gross.
It's not like Blippo and Inspire forgot how to play the damn game. They just
Mhm.
sucked. Like, that's the
Yeah.
truth.
No. Yeah.
They played terribly.
Yep.
Did their drafts help them? No. But also, I saw people were making the point of like, oh, well, they had to adapt because they probably thought they were going to play C9. You had other coaches out here saying if Team Liquid plays like they should, Team Liquid's going on to the finals. Easy. And the majority of people that I saw were predicting Team Liquid over C9. So I don't know where this whole perception of like, you know, they're
Yeah. I don't
guaranteed
know
to play
about that.
C9, therefore you have to change all your draft prep going into this. I say bullshit.
Yeah, I would say more of like it should be. I mean, you should be ready for both, honestly. And then also, it's like FlyQuest saying, "Oh, we just weren't ready to play Team Liquid." It's like you've already played them one time. How
And
much
nearly
harder is
lost.
it? Yeah, I know it's a new patch and things change, but you already have a feel for them. If anything, you should be more ready for Team Liquid than Cloud9. And Cloud9 should be a bigger worry. Now that we know in hindsight, and you believed this the whole time, Cloud9 was not a threat to anybody, and they do not know what's going on. You saying that they are lost on the map is just completely true. And Con made a good point too. It's not a new patch for playoffs. All playoffs is on the same patch, so it's kind of just like how do you use the excuse you might not be ready? I mean, I know FlyQuest hasn't, so like themselves. So I don't know why fans would be. I mean, in general, it looked like FlyQuest, and I hate to say this, but going back. Oh, 1 sec.
I will just add this part while Paul's getting up to go to the door. It's not even the fans of FlyQuest. It is the personalities. Like Monte Cristo, like Thor and everybody else that have to come and like basically,
Mm.
walk back with their tail between their legs and be like, oh, damn, Team Liquid won it after I was shit talking them for so long. What can I say to possibly validate my feelings that it was FlyQuest dropping the ball and not Team Liquid earning it in some way, shape, or form? Like, we haven't been doing this once a year, or like at least one split a year every year for the last 3 or 4. It's like, damn, I don't know how they could have done this. It must have been the fault of the team that was favored dropping the ball. It's like, or, hear me out, the other team got better.
Yeah. No, yeah. And like this like I don't want to say it because it kind of makes him feel bad or makes him look bad with a quote that I'm sure he didn't completely mean to say, but it already seems like finals was in the rearview mirror for them.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that FlyQuest wasn't too focused on it. It seems like they already just wanted to go to MSI, which is crazy to say because they have never won one. So you would think they'd want to win any of them, like even if it's spring, right? You can like I know Inspired has won one, but you got Busio, Masu. Jensen hasn't won in a while and wants to prove to people he still can. Bwipo hasn't won in NA yet, so he should want to win one. Like, the only guy who can say it doesn't matter to me is just inspired on that roster. I would, and maybe Jensen, but I think Jensen likes winning. So
Yeah.
I don't think Jensen would be in that pool. And that's just kind of crazy to me. That they honestly they did look flat to me.
I was the second Inspired said, like, oh, I'm happy I made MSI. If we win, we win. If not, I was like, that tells me all I need to know. Like, bro, you ain't here.
Yeah.
You're not. You lack that killer instinct. You lack that edge to put you over the top. And if you think that every single player on TL isn't grinding their ass off, not only, like, I know FlyQuest players were doing so, and this is not meant to take away from what they were probably doing, but there was always going to be that edge from TL of just having to overcome the narrative, and that's what happens when you're fighting your way up rather than punching down. And Bwipo and Inspired were very heavily punching down over the last week and a half, and that came back to bite him in the ass hard.
And it's interesting because I was thinking about it when TL won. It's like we're finally at the point now where we can say, instead of Steve bought it, like the trophy, we can finally start going, he built it. And I know all their staff built it. Like, Dodo's done great, Spawn's doing great. But they really are grinding hard. Like, Core wants to get back to his former glory bad. Impact looks like he wants to shut people up and keep winning, which, I mean, there's not a ton of haters, but even the minority can make you want to shut them up. And then APA and Yan are just trying to break out. And this at least saves them probably, if I had to guess, 3 more years in the LCS. Like, winning one can hold you around for a while, even if you end up on a bad team. So for them, winning one's a huge deal too. It keeps you in the league. But now they can also say they are the pinnacle of LCS, in this right now at least. And now summer, we have to look at them as like, who can beat them? And we can't even use their regular season as something to make fun of them because we know come playoffs they can turn it on at any moment.
I mean, I still don't like the narrative. Like, okay, I hope the format changes so that we have best of threes, so it's a little bit more clear going into it, like who's actually going to be good, who's not. But what blows my mind is the amount of people that want to write off APA at this point. It's just like, oh, he's good. Yeah. People don't ban out his Aurelion Soul or his Ziggs, and that's what lets him win. It's like, then do it. Like, do it. Like, it's not like these teams aren't dumb. It's almost like they understand that he's going to be good on other champions as well. It's not worth throwing the ban at him. It's worth banning other people. And because of that, there's not as much you can do about APA.
Yep.
So the dude is finished in his 2 splits in the LCS. 3rd and 1st.
Yeah.
That's it.
And one of them, he couldn't even talk to his team.
Exactly.
Like, that's pretty insane.
And he got subbed in like 4 weeks in.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
What more do you want from the guy? Like, that's my big, like, so many people. And by all means, we were guilty of it too. I will call us out on it. We were talking about,
yeah, we were
like middle of the regular season. We were like, okay, well, there might come a time where you might have to move on from APA. And just looking at it in hindsight, it's like, bro, we are so hard on rookies in this region.
Yep.
It's just ridiculous. Like, we as a region are always preaching, like, oh, give the young guys a chance. The young guys get a chance, and before their first full year is even up, we're like, maybe it's time to drop them. Maybe it's time to move in a different direction. It's like, bro, when are we going to learn? When are we going to learn to give these guys time?
It's hard because when you're watching his regular season fall off, it was so hard. But then after that 2-week break that I know we don't want to mention, but it did happen. After that, his turn on was insane. Like, he just showed up, he kept playing, he kept, like, annihilating people, And I was like, dang, like this dude might actually be back. He had some really, really into moments in the regular season, but then in playoffs, he got rid of the inting, like those little moments, and he just started being more consistent. And even if he did run it down, which in one game he did, and he came back to life, came in and got a triple kill, and I was like, what on earth is going on? Like this guy's just popping off now, and tough because we did. I know we said what we
Yep.
said during the season. I mean, but and everyone was saying it too, which is even sadder to think about. And the fact he's a rookie, but it's like looking at that squad. They are outside of Jan and APA pretty old, so it is kind of an interesting construction because I don't know how long the squad will have. So it makes me kind of excited to think like they are super hungry.
Yeah.
Like they realize they're on a timer and they gotta cook.
It's also like if you're a TL fan, you can really buy into the roster now too. Because like I think the worry that you had with like 2018 and 2019 TL, like whenever you're getting those wins, is like, okay, we're getting wins, but like under the premises that like we will pay to replace whoever and make
Mhm.
sure the squad stays on top.
Yep.
And I don't get that feeling with this roster. And I'll be the first to admit, I owe a massive apology to Dodo because I was critical of him and
Mhm.
the roster building prior to this point. He the plan worked long term. They were able to finally figure it out. Uh, so post 2022 Worlds, I will give Dodo credit for like everything that they were able to do there in terms of building up their roster. On top of that, uh, you feel like you can buy into this because even there will come a point when Core JJ eventually does retire and Impact
Mhm.
does eventually move on. But you've now built up these personalities to be able to have something to play around. And hopefully they develop into, like, not hopefully, you just have to give them time. And they will eventually
Yeah.
become a little bit better leaders, a little bit better, not shot callers, but just like more veteran teammates. And that'll come as time goes on. And then it's a matter of placing them around rookies to make sure that hunger is always there. Like that's
Yeah.
part of what makes regular sports so great is the draft and having all this fresh talent come in each and every year. It's not
Yep.
you're not completely overhauling everything unless you absolutely have to blow up the locker room. But there's enough constantly moving pieces to keep it fresh. And that's what
Yes.
TL's in the position to do now.
And yeah, it's kind of crazy that we're even in this because if you would have asked me at the end of last season, like, is a TL possibly like Road to Glory gonna restart next year? I would not have guessed this at all with this roster, but it's happening. And now I'm kind of looking at it and I'm like, yeah, they have like obvious points they can move to as time goes on. They've built a good roster here. They've finally decided that a full English speaking team probably can relate to each other better
A little bit.
and can play better together. So that is good. And I mean, they are set up for the future, especially with the fact they're one of the few teams that has academy team, right? Well, wait, they do, right?
Yes, they do.
Okay, I was making sure. Like they they actually have a system where they could try to get guys in there and start working them in. I don't know how easy that is. I don't know how good Academy is because obviously I'm not watching it too much.
Yeah.
That's just too much league to have to watch. But I am sure there is somebody down there who can play the game as good as we've been playing the game. Probably, if not better, than the greats that we romanticize, but clearly things have gotten better with power creep that you love so much. But like there has to be people who can come in and pop off too. And Yon is low key like so hype.
He's got
So,
that dog in him.
yeah.
He
I
absolutely
kind of I kind of liked the talking trash after the game because the trash he was talking was like pretty good.
Yeah, it was
It
just
was
pure
nice.
response to everything that was
Yes.
levied on him, and he finally got to like lash out in return.
Hmm.
Core JJ's moment, it will stick in my mind forever. That was one of the greatest mic drop moments that I think I've ever seen in esports.
Oh yeah,
Bar none. Like
yeah.
the fact that this entire team's apparently fluent in Japanese is great. They, or at least to the point where they understand each other and can speak to it. It's so good.
Yo.
Because like it validates everything that APA was doing. Like people got on APA so much for shit talking in all chat and like trying to get those mental advantages. And you know what? It worked. And people were gonna have to learn to all chat. And you know what? APA is gonna have to reinvent the wheel. He's got to find ways to get in their heads, like maybe standing up a little bit and like pushing the envelope of smack talk as people begin to mute all. You have to keep getting that mental advantage. But it works. And he has the play to back it up. And it's like, you can't ask for much more than that. Also, Rylos brings up a great point. When Core retires, if he doesn't join the coaching staff of Team Liquid, something went wrong. That dude, like Core JJ's like career better be Team Liquid forever. By the way, Doc Respawn, thank you for the raid, man. And Kelly, yeah, thank you for the follow.
Nice. Also, yes, it will be. Yeah, it's gonna be important how they transition. The smack talk from APA is like pretty hilarious. It also does help when the enemy top laners just, watching people fight in the top lane while standing in the mid lane and lets you just kill them off the bat. That was probably that was genuinely the moment where I was like, yeah, these dudes are totally not locked in. Like I was on the fence. Game 2, they kind of looked like they, were punching back, but it wasn't like one of those punch backs where I was like, they really got TL now, right where they want them. I was kind of still on the fence. And then that happened, and I was just like, dude, they're lost.
It was nice at the bar too, because I was trying to, I didn't say this, but I was trying to get back to make sure I wasn't too late for Easter dinner for Emily. And I was like, I need TL to win this in 4. Like, as much as I wanted to go to game 5 and like it'd be nice for everybody else there, like this ending in 4 would be perfect for me. Yeah. And after game 2, even when they lost, I was like, I still feel like they're gonna be fine. And then they come out and clap game 3. I was like, oh, I'm going home. I felt bad though. The FlyQuest fans at the bar were like, they were going through it. They were really like, you could tell like they thought this was their moment. Mm-hmm. And it unfortunately did not work out in their favor. But
it completely fell off the rails for them. And it just stinks because like FlyQuest fans have been through probably the most of any fan base as far as like, I know you're gonna say with the violin, but like of all the fan bases outside of the ones who just constantly suck, and don't make playoffs, like they've been so close, bro. Is this their 3rd time at 2nd in a split, or is it 4th? I think it's 4th. 3rd. Yeah, and they've had super teams. They had 1 year where they made 2 finals and lost both. Like it's just so bad. Like I can't imagine having to beat them, bro. Like it's honestly a curse. Like they might be the Buffalo Bills of LCS.
FlyQuest fans that are kind-hearted and can't handle and don't like shit talk. Do me a favor, mute your headphones for like the next like 15 seconds. Okay. Y'all ain't getting a fucking title before we get a second one, bitch. You thought. You think that I'm giving like I will talk so much shit at this point because FlyQuest still maintains the worst record in LCS finals of any organization ever in LCS history. They are the biggest choke artist in the world across everything. And we're second worst because we're like 1-3. Okay. We have the same amount of losses in finals that they have. But you know what we have that they don't? A fucking ring. So guess what? Suck it. I couldn't give a shit. Couldn't care less. We're still ahead of you. Kindly fuck off.
I mean, it didn't help that they were talking so much trash, bro. It did not help them at
And I
all.
felt
I mean,
bad.
it was good for the league.
Oh, it was great for the league because
Yeah.
nobody else in that org is going to talk shit. I know everybody there in management. I know Danielle, who used to be with CLG. She's not going to
Funny.
talk shit like that. Papa Smithy, he'll be passive aggressive with it, but he won't like outright like talk shit in public. Nuke Duck is fairly quiet. Like nobody else. It's just Blippo and Inspired and Jensen. It's just those three. And it was
Yeah.
like, for the longest time, I was like, okay, you know what? If they get it, fine. FlyQuest finally gets their title. They've been around long enough. Whatever. The second the three of them started talking shit, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
It takes a lot to get me to cheer for Team Liquid over FlyQuest in that situation, given that I don't want TL to have more titles. I would rather see Steve win 3 more than FlyQuest win a single one at this point.
I thought you had a rivalry with TL.
I do, and I'd rather beat them on our own, but at this point, I don't like until we win a second title, I don't want FlyQuest ever winning one.
Yeah, and I was about to say, Khan said, I mean, Doc already responded to him really well, but Khan said C9 are the biggest domestic chokers. No chance, bro.
No.
No chance.
Sure.
FlyQuest has been there so much, bro.
Like, if you want to say historically, like really, really historically, pre like 2019, fine. C9's got a title every year for the last 4 years. I'm sorry, but like them being chokers is like not a question anymore. It's also not the same if you like choke beforehand. But
That's
it's
true.
like, oh, bro, that felt a little good. By all means, I still like. Here's the thing. I understand I've got a rivalry with Team Liquid, and I don't want to lose to them, and I want to kick their ass every time that we're playing on the Rift, because by all means, I do see us as equals to a certain extent. They're trying to go the apparel route as well. But when 100 Thieves is out of it entirely, okay? Like I said, this isn't a rivalry like baked in bad blood. This is a rivalry baked out of respect. I respect Team Liquid more than I respect FlyQuest.
You respect Team Liquid more than FlyQuest?
This year? Yeah.
Just because you hate that Bippo and Inspired were going so crazy?
No, I like that they were going crazy.
Why do you not like them? What's your problem with them?
Because they took Busio.
They
took fucking Busio. Papa
gave
Smithy
them away.
Papa Smithy.
You had him under contract.
We couldn't afford to pay him what FlyQuest is paying him, so we didn't really give him away. It was more of a like, we're broke boys. But that point aside, okay.
Don't you can't you just sell a few t-shirts or something?
We tried to sell $1,000 Pokemon jacket. It didn't fully sell out, but
of course,
there's that.
So that's how you're gonna pay for his salary.
Clearly, I don't. There's two. Look, Papa Smithy just comes in and they come in. They try and buy out this amazing roster last year with Prince and who all was on that team. It was Prince,
Impact
Vikla, Impact Speaker. They try to bring in all the big names. It's like this is our year. We got this. And then it fails catastrophically. Okay. Yeah. So kudos.
They started with Ayla, right? And then they moved to Vulcan, and it got even worse.
Yeah. So then they move over this year. It's like, okay, you know what? We're gonna redo it all. No more Spica. No more Impact. No more Vikla. Vikla, I understand going. Masu coming up, I like. Busio they took from us. I like Busio, but that's not a positive for FlyQuest in my mind. Sorry, you took my player. You're on my shit list for that.
Well, it's a way bigger upgrade over Vulcan.
Agreed. But you're still on my shit list for taking my player. Okay.
Fair enough.
You took I didn't have plans on moving on for Busio. That was not my choice. Therefore, I'm not happy about that. And then you bring in the MVP, you bring in Blippo, you bring in Jensen, being like, look, we just got this veteran. It feels like the same reason why I despised Team Liquid back in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Of just you're really gonna bring in Bjergsen, Blippo, Brox or who was their jungler that year? Was it Broxa? No.
I think they started with Broxa, and then they moved to somebody else.
But then it was like Han Sama and Core JJ. It's like, dude, like, how much star-studded talent you trying to get on one roster? Like, kindly go fuck yourself. Like, same thing for FlyQuest this year. It was like, dude, you got too much veteran talent. That's some bullshit.
Or the TL. What do you mean, Con? Explain. The TL of 2024.
I don't know what
I think Khan thinks that
that
I
TL.
don't want to put him in his mouth, but I think he thinks that them getting Umti and Impact are two veterans, so they aren't even trying to go young. Which, I mean, they're pretty young roster.
I mean,
already.
I disagree though, because like Team Liquid this year was like they kept 3 of the same pieces, which is you changed out 2 portions of it, but you changed out 2 portions that literally were talking shit on your team. Like, objectively speaking, like, I know from the outside in, look at TL and FlyQuest rosters. They're the same. 3 imports, 2 LCS. I'm not arguing that they're not rosters set up in the same manner. I'm arguing how they did it. It is different when you don't have to change out Impact for FlyQuest. You don't have to change out Spica. Granted, we don't know what happened in the locker room there, but like, you made clear cut decisions that were like massive upgrades.
Yeah.
Whereas TL, I don't think anybody's going to argue that Umti was not an upgrade over Piosik.
No, he was an unknown, but he was a cultural hire. Like, well, he was a culture hire. I don't want to say cultural because in League that actually has connotations.
Yeah.
But he was a culture hire from the sense of a team perspective. You hire a guy who can talk to your mid laner,
Yeah,
and your ADC, and you hire a guy who will agree with them, who won't go on Twitter subtweeting them. Like, that's why they made that hire.
Yep.
Now, I know, like, the argument he's making is like roster construction kind of the same, and I guess it is in like a vacuum, but it's also like that the culture of those two teams is so different.
Yeah.
It's vastly different.
Put it this way.
Also, they have vets where it matters, Simo.
Yeah, this would be like me traveling from Hell's Kitchen, New York to JFK Airport. One option is to take a taxi like a normal person or the subway. You know, both are, anywhere from cheap to moderately expensive options that will get you there in a reasonable amount of time. And you know what? You're not going to go here on social media and fucking brag about taking a taxi to JFK. And you're playing against the person that paid for the $250 Uber copter to get to JFK in 15 minutes while taking a picture over Manhattan being like, fuck you peasants. Like, that's what the difference is here. Like, yes, they got to the same point. It was the same journey to get there to a certain extent. But it was the same ending destination and the same result. But the way you did it was drastically different.
Yeah, the journey was completely different. No, that is true.
It's the same reason why I enjoyed watching C9 lose. I enjoy watching super teams lose. When it's not my team, I enjoy watching super teams lose. Not gonna lie.
I mean, yeah, I think anybody would. And the C9 super team was also satisfying because it was like, this was genuinely supposed to be like one of our better ones in a long time, like an actual, like, undeniably great one. There was a clear weakness in support that everybody was worried about, or at least we mentioned a lot in the off season. But that we were like, if Fudge can rise to a level, which he didn't, and spoiler, and if they can all work well around each other, then they are unbeatable. There's no reason they should lose. But I mean, reality sucks. Like, Vulcan was just, I mean, terrible. Fudge could not play for the team and could not figure out what to do. And they just kept shoving Blabber on like champs that weren't really Blabber's MO.
No.
And it just never worked. Like, honestly, they might have been better off like just having Fudge and Blabber play what they wanted to play than trying to even build a fake comp. Because it wasn't working
Or
Like, it
don't
just
put
wasn't working
fucking
at all.
Jojapune on the Karma.
Yeah,
That's
that's
Vulcan's
your best
job.
player.
Like, you don't
Yeah, your
put
best player going in.
Yeah, like, the second they did that in Game 3 of the TL series, I was like, this is what I wanted. I wanted a late game hyperscaling ADC for Berserker with an
Mhm.
enchanter to keep him alive, and then somebody to fucking engage and deal a little bit of damage. But it's like you gave the one person that shouldn't be playing the enchanter. The damage person that I want to be able to do something alongside Berserker, I don't want that to be Fudge. I want that to be JoJo.
Yep.
Like, oh man. Oh well. We don't have to watch them again until we have to watch 100 Thieves next. So they're done until June.
Facts, that is facts.
I can't.
I mean, getting into more teams we don't have to watch for a while. Talk. Storm did say way back. He probably said this like 15 minutes ago. He said thoughts on NRG possibly going back to Ignar. I personally would rather them not.
Same.
I don't think Huhi was the problem.
Nope.
I think Huhi has a bit of a hyper aggression, but I don't think he was the problem. Now, do I think they could get back Ignar and possibly get to their former glory, and they would probably be better off with the squad they have? Yes. But I think that they need to do one more split with Huhi and figure out what pieces they could replace to keep this working. Because the bottom lane of FBI and Huhi were actually like
Still really
going
fucking
crazy.
good. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I really don't know if I want them separated. And I do think there's a world where they could they have something they need to replace on the top side of the map. I don't know which pieces yet you would replace from spring, but I don't know. I think Pal
Storm.
underperformed.
Yeah, Storm hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Palafox
I
has to step up. You cannot
Yeah.
play the way he played in spring and expect to keep your spot come next year. He'll retain. I think for NRG, I definitely think you do run it back. Personally, I don't want to see them swap going into summer. Unless it's a top lane change, maybe, and even then I'm not the biggest fan of it. Like, Dokla, I think, had the chance to step up in a world where top lane was like kind of prime for him to take over, and he didn't. I'm more worried about him than I am like mid lane. Jojapune was still great. We saw Jensen playing at a pretty high level, and we saw APA continuing to develop. Like, I honestly think this team just needs to put in games together and figure out how to play together on the Rift. Commit to a style and try it. Because if Palafox comes back on form, this squad is still dangerous.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, you don't replace Palafox unless you just randomly 100 Thieves, TL, or C9 say, we can't afford our mid laner anymore. Which I know won't happen. This is completely hypothetical. But if one of those three said that, then you know what? Fine by me. I guess I'll replace Palafox with Quid. But until that happens, no.
No,
I don't think you're
there
replacing them.
is. You can't say it's not possible because it is. It's unlikely.
Yeah,
But
there's just no way.
if any of the players on NRG got complacent after winning, like they won the title, and like we've seen this over the years where people just, once you've hit Mount Everest, like once you've hit that point, like, are you willing to push to get back there, to get back to the point where you're facing G2 or an Eastern team in a best of 5 internationally? Like, are you willing to do what it takes? Because it's not easy to get that motor started every single time, especially for players that have been around and grinding as long as Dokla and Palafox and them have.
Yep.
It's one of those where, like, to put this in camera and put this as a perspective, people grow up to a certain point where they peak, but but it's not like it's a
Okay.
straight line. There's obviously ups and downs. And both Dokla and Palafox and Contracts, all three of their careers, have just been a set of up and downs that could never quite reach that high. And they peaked really high at the right time, but also at a later stage in their career where it's like
Yes.
there is a chance that they walk out of that being like, I know I'm probably not going to hit that high again. Or the amount of effort that it's going to take to get there. I've seen what it takes. I know if I have to do more than that, I might not be willing to do it. There's a chance that that could happen. And if that does, then yeah, you got to consider replacing them. And it might seem dumb, but like the second somebody loses that spark, it's important to identify that it's gone. And then just.
I mean, it was literally why Doublelift had to be traded around as much as he was.
Yep.
Like, until you spited him, he would just quit, like, playing his best for your team. And we saw it happen at TSM and TL. There were moments where he was, like, given up by both of them after tons of trophies. Like, dude had 7 after both of those runs, and he got cut twice in that time. Like, you don't get cut twice unless you're somebody who needs a real kick, and some players just need that. I mean, it's just how it is. I don't know why, but some people need to be, like, kind of just smacked in the face so hard that they get woken up.
Well, here, I feel like we do know why, we just can't relate. We all understand complacency. We know that it can happen, but very few of us in life ever hit the peaks that these people are. So it's impossible for us to like, we can sit here and think about the emotion, but until you are literally in their shoes and waking up the next day being like, fuck, I have to do this again.
You know,
That's whenever you find out who's got, like, there's a difference between the Mamba mentality and just a winner's mentality. Anybody can have a winner's mentality and can ride that out. But the Mamba mentality will take you way above and beyond. But it takes a not normal mind to be able to do that. You think Patrick Mahomes is normal for winning the amount that he has and still waking up and wanting to go and smash everybody every single time? That's not normal.
no.
99% of people will do that twice and be like, I'm good for the rest of my life.
Dog, his wife isn't even normal. I'm pretty sure when he wakes up in the morning, she tells him, I don't know why it's a good morning. You haven't gotten forward. Like, that's a psycho power couple that we should be thanking God that they chose football and not taking over the world.
Oh, God. Dude, if they chose politics, it'd be over.
Yeah. Like, they are psychos together.
It's it's unbelievable.
Yup.
Oh,
like,
man.
it's crazy. And back to Storm's point about if they don't make Worlds, does Energy blow it up? I would say,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, 100%. And then, like, if you go young or not, that I don't really know. I think Energy would want to win, so they would probably do a mix. But I don't know if NRG is one of the orgs that's as interested in unprovens, like, and waiting to see where people go.
I mean,
but I don't know because we're a very new org, like, to League again.
I also think, like, you've got sports management in there. You got people that understand, like, a 3-year timetable when it comes to esports.
Yeah,
so
100%.
I wouldn't doubt that NRG could have these splits where you take some chances to find your centerpiece and build from there. NRG closer, bro. Closer ain't coming back. I'm telling you now, that ain't happening. Dude fell off the face of the planet. Spica, maybe. Spica actually wants to play. But I don't know. I do not know. Whenever Paul comes back, we are going to talk about, as long as he's got nothing else, we're going to talk about his thoughts on the LCS split as a whole this year and the state of the LCS for the last, like, 20 minutes of this. So if you got any takes in chat on what your thoughts on the entire season were, what the optics look like for the league going forward, put them in because we'll go over. I've already got my thoughts, obviously.
All right, sorry, my bad. And no, we don't want closer. Speaka, I love you, Speaka, but probably not now.
No.
It's been a while.
Yeah. So anything else you want to talk about from finals weekend?
No. I mean, we have plenty of time to talk about C9's changes.
Yeah.
If there's one team that makes changes, probably them.
100%.
I don't think we need to talk about that too much.
No.
It's pretty obvious what they need to do.
We'll be able to react to it when it happens.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to talk to you, though, about your thoughts on the LCS split as a whole. The state of the LCS. How do you feel? This is your first split, like joining a new team, following it from pretty much the ground up without any legacy. How do you feel about it all? Does spring split as a whole, how it was handled, how it was scheduled, everything, does it make you look forward to summer? Or are you worried still about the LCS like we kind of were at the beginning of the year?
I think, in general, probably the most excited I've been for every game to watch. Definitely because I got married a year ago, but I left on a deployment, got back. This is probably one of the hardest ones to watch every game because every weekend I've been having to. Well, I don't have to go out, but I'm going out because I haven't seen people in a year. So I have been pretty busy. So I haven't been watching the live broadcast as much, but I've been watching like full, replay, and time between games I think is very, very good when you do get to watch the broadcast live. I do like that change a lot. The 2 week break was very weird, and still making the schedule screw up of doing finals on Easter was not great. I mean, I still got to watch finals, but I only got to start watching it at the start of game 3. So I then had to do that weird catch up thing where you're kind of skipping through games to get back.
Yep.
But I had to do that. And then my biggest gripe, and I wanted to save this for later and so that more people could leave and they don't have to hear us being negative all day. But finals in the Riot Games studio is just not it for me, personally. It doesn't work for me. It doesn't get me hype. The opening sequence was by a band I absolutely love, and it was just so awkward because that kind of musical style, like heavier metal, I'm not sure any style really is great. Well, there's probably a couple, like country folk would be good in a 90-person arena. But having a semi-metal band come in and try to hype up a crowd with a remix of a song that everybody knows with like 100 or 300 whatever people they had just isn't the best, and it didn't look very good.
No.
And they also probably need to fix the sound mixing when they put it on broadcast because it sounds so weird. But in general, that cover song, remember when I said that to you 2 months ago?
Yeah.
I was like, why was this made? And I was like, I love it, but why was it made?
And now you know
I didn't
why.
know that's why. Yeah, but I liked that a lot. I thought it was really cool when they showed up, but the whole guitar intro was not even heard. It was kind of tough. But in general, I would call the split a success from a getting people back in and watching. The fact we didn't have a massive drop off with TSM leaving and going into the second split of CLG being gone. I think that's good, and it looks like we do have building blocks.
Yeah.
So that made me happy.
Viewership doesn't concern you at all, or is that no?
I watched your viewership stuff, and then I didn't really read their article too much in depth because it seemed like they were kind of going to make people upset.
They are the biggest thing. I will also point out, because Monte Cristo said it, and it's a fair point, that broadcast numbers for the main channels were down, and co-streams obviously went up, which means you are likely losing North American audience. So even though we're stable, you're probably losing NA and like picking up international people.
Yeah.
Probably.
I mean, in general, co-streaming runs League of Legends at least as an esport right now.
Yep.
Outside of probably Asian countries, like I would say almost every other region right now is being held on by some co-streamer somewhere. So, I mean, it's saving Brazil. In EU, most of their numbers are coming from co-streaming on their pop-off games. Their finals are still high on the main broadcast, but their pop-off games are like those French and Spain rivalries
Yep.
that pop off on co-streams. So in general, I don't love that co-streams are the future. Like I've already mentioned a few times and we've talked about a lot that there's not a real way to do ads or make them show your ads, so it's kind of awkward. And until they find out a way to feed that better, it's going to be awkward. But at the same time, it's the only thing holding up the scene, so I don't know how you combat it.
I I agree with you for the most part. I will say on the Rift, I think it was one of the most entertaining splits that we've ever had. It just felt
Mhm.
like everybody was close to each other, could take games off each other, and it just felt like there were so many hype games. Uh,
Yeah,
I can't remember a split that was like this close, barring maybe like 2019 summer. I want to say is like the closest one that I think we saw to this.
mhm.
But beyond that, I love the change back to weekends. Obviously, it makes watch parties so much easier. Like it makes like what I wouldn't have been able to have 80 people at finals had we not like slowly built towards that over the course of the split. And
True.
I'm happy about that change. Obviously, all the small things that happened for like speeding up game times, I like all that stuff's a net positive.
Yeah,
I think we still have a ways to go, really, before we start making like some damn good progress. You hit on all the really positive ones. The 3 week break was egregious. Scheduling for the LCS remains absolutely pitiful. Like
somehow, yeah.
I don't get it at all. The fact that we're not going to get summer scheduling until after MSI is a bit ridiculous. Uh,
Terrifying.
was that?
Oh, I was saying it's terrifying.
Yeah,
For being honest, like
and
I can't plan around it.
no, here's my thing. If you wait all the way until then and it remains the same, then that's
Yeah.
fucking atrocious. If you're holding off until then because you're trying to figure out logistically how you want to do best of threes, you have a few finals locations that are in the works that, by the way, that needs to be announced as of week 1 of the LCS. Like that should be the first thing you lead with is like all eyes towards blank, whatever city it is. If you're not changing something there, then once again, we're still dealing with the communication problem that I think is bad. The viewership part, it's not that I think viewership is in trouble because ultimately, even though it is not great that we're likely losing a portion of our NA audience and it's being replaced by EU, if revenue streams start going towards digital goods and the way that they're saying it's going to shift next year, then
Mhm.
technically, as long as people are buying our teams, regardless of whether they're European or American, is technically irrelevant as long as they're buying it. But it makes these events tougher. I maybe I'm jaded on this because I have so much personal involvement and personal stake, but I still don't feel like we're doing anything at all to develop local fandom here in the US. And I heard Emily Rand and Cubby talk about how, oh, I just don't think it's possible in esports. It's like, nah, bullshit. I'm claiming bullshit. I think it's possible entirely. And I'm not saying that I'm like, walking proof of it to the fullest, because obviously, only having 80 people for finals, well, I'm eternally grateful of that. Like, Riot can still look at 80 people and just kind of shrug it off at the end of the day. But we're growing something.
Yeah.
With no resources, no help, no nothing. The only thing that we got from the LCS on my side was one retweet. That's it. And I'm glad FlyQuest partnered with us, but like, it shouldn't be on the teams to partner with us. Riot should see the value in growing local fandom, because you're not going to grow online fandom anymore for North America.
Yeah.
I don't think you are, unless teams start turning it around, of which 100 Thieves is getting there, Team Liquid's getting there. Like, maybe you've got the foundations to build. But you know what needs to happen to then cement that for people? They need to go see those people live. They need to be able to connect with these teams, because content is not going to, like, content can be the foot in the door, but you need something to seal the deal, to officially make you a fan. And I don't think we understand that yet. And I'm getting worried because time is ticking. You got to be doing all this shit at once, and you can't, like, I get they laid off a lot of people at Riot, and that's fair. But it's like, you also got to delegate where you can. And if I'm trying not to make this all about me, I'm really not, because I'm aware of how egotistical this is going to come off and how this can be. And I just don't know another way to say it, because I don't know anybody else that's doing this that's not affiliated with a team. But like, we're trying to do shit. Help us, please.
Yeah.
Help yourself. Grow local fandom. Pair with colleges. Go to college campuses. Marn, or was it Marn? I'm not sure. I forget who it was exactly. Put on Twitter earlier that like Cloud9's having university watch parties for Valorant at UC Irving. And then they're only doing Discord watch parties for the LCS.
That's tough.
It's like, what the fuck is your problem?
That's tough.
Where's the passion?
Because how many did you have at finals again?
80.
And how many was even in studio?
300, I think, is like studio capacity.
Yeah, you were like pretty. I mean, you're touching studio. Like, that's not an insignificant dent. That's at least a fourth, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, at the very least, a fourth.
And we had no free shit other than a few lanyards and some stickers. And everybody came and bought beer, bought food, bought everything else. It's like, bro, just give us fucking something to work with here. So like, like this split for me, like to kind of tie it back in, it just feels like the online portion is getting better, but the things that need to happen to develop local fandom still aren't getting the respect they deserve.
That's true. Yeah. I don't even know how you build something like that in Indianapolis.
You start small. You just start hosting a watch party somewhere. And then maybe one person shows up. But then maybe the next week too. I mean, I've been hosting these since what, 2022? Yeah, 2022. And we have consistently 2 to 3 people at some of these. And there were times where Emily can tell you, I came home and was like, I don't, like, maybe, am I wasting my time to a certain extent? Like, I know the community's here. What am I doing wrong? What's not working? And it's just like, sometimes like you catch the right wave, you catch the right algorithm, people see it, sometimes they don't. But like, when there's no messaging from Riot and like the people that like people actually listen to, like, it's not like I have that big of a following to be able to shout it out so that everybody in the league community hears it.
Yeah.
But if Riot says something, like for example, there should be, if we had a Riot officially sponsored watch party, have a pop-up in client or something like that. Like, you know how they had like the LCS faces and all that on there?
Yeah.
Have like a pop-up in your corner and say, hey, there's an LCS watch party in your area. Like geotag it.
No, yeah, that would be a good idea. I mean, because yeah, you've been grinding it for a while. You got 80, which is like a crazy number. If you could get it dedicated, especially on Easter, like the fact you pulled 80 people, but it just will be interesting because they haven't really put a lot of work into the local scenes, I'd say.
No work.
And it's just not gonna end well long term. Like, there's no way it does. You have to have a bit of location interest from people. Like, there has to be a mecca of LCS somewhere, and right now that's LA, where basically nobody can get to, which I know we've talked about this ad nauseum, but there is no way to get there. There isn't anywhere closer. So it's not like you can just go to somewhere close. Like if I really wanted to go to a college football game, I could probably go to a team I'm semi interested in and find a team I'd be interested in that's on the West Coast at some point this year because they'd go on the road. But at this point, we are just married to LA, putting finals there too. So it's very difficult to get regional interest. Very. But I know they're doing their best, and Mark is new, so there's a lot of changes to come and things. But
I hope.
there
I
is
really
a
hope.
point where you have to see them happen. It's been a long time of like we're hoping things get better. And then also it's been a long time since COVID. So you can't really say like it's this super hard thing. I get it's esports winner, but nowhere like we are clearly the farthest behind us. And for some reason EU has decided to do just everything in that stupid studio. And I'm saying that for like world stuff because it's like brother, give it a rest. We can't be playing group games in a studio, a Riot studio. Like, can we please put it somewhere more interesting?
You know what's kind of wild?
What?
We are double the amount of time away from the start of COVID than franchising was to the start of it.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
If that puts it into perspective, even if you chuck out all of 2020,
Oh
you have
my.
3 full years of LCS post like knowing we're in a COVID world. 2 full years realistically since like everything came back.
That's gross. That's gross, is what that is.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Yeah.
I don't know. Every time we talk about LCS in this way, it's sad, but it's funny because you listen to any other podcast, they talk the same way, but some people are laughing. And then we're sitting here sad because we still watch.
The thing though is like I don't bring this up to be sad about the future of the LCS because again, like I am as optimistic as I will ever be.
Mm-hmm.
That's not changing. Like I have faith that there's a certain that there are actions that you can take that would immediately make differences. And
Sure.
all it takes is somebody saying yes to those things and we hit the ground running and go.
Mm-hmm.
If those things were actually tried and failed and did not work over the course of 2.5 years, then yeah, I would agree that maybe it's not working. Maybe my thought is wrong and the LCS truly just is like done. But I don't believe that. I don't believe it for a single second, and I have full faith that we can get there. And I kind of teased this, but like one of the things that I'm going to start doing in summer, I'm going to look at doing this, but like I want to see how much it would cost for me to rent out a 300-person movie theater for LCS finals. And what I'm going to do is something that high school football games do well, but I've never seen anybody do it in esports for some reason. Have you ever heard of 50/50s?
No.
Basically, you pay $5. Is it $5? Yeah, it's $5 for 5 tickets. Or no. I think I think it's 10 actually. I think it's $10 for 5 tickets, or 20, and you get your full arm's length. Like you can from finger to finger. Like you stretch your arms out and you get as many tickets as goes in there. And what you do is you split the money 50-50. Half of it you give away to one person that wins the ticket raffle. So you can make your money back if you enter the raffle. It's like a lottery in a way. And then the other half of that goes to whatever cause that you're trying to save for. So for mine, what I would do is I would start it and say, I might lower it because we're gamers and don't have like the most amount of money. Maybe like $5 for 5 tickets, or $5 for 5 tickets, and then 10 for like an arm's length. Half of that money will go towards basically funding towards that movie theater idea.
Okay.
And along the way, like I'll take $30 a week and put that towards RP to give away at all of these, because if you hear a free RP, people will come.
Now you're talking.
Exactly. It's more than just a hat. It's more than like any team could really give me. Like as much as like the apparel will be nice and people want that, like the RP means more to literally everybody because it's direct in-game skins.
Yep.
And then you start saving. And if I can get enough to have a movie theater for finals, the goal is for me to have more people in that theater watching LCS than finals.
The finals.
If it were in the arena.
That's funny. I like that. I can support that.
I feel like we could do it.
If you pulled that off, I think that would be hilarious.
It'd be tough.
Oh, 100%.
300 people ain't easy.
Hey, everything people love is tough, you know? Tough is just how life goes.
But I'm never giving up. Ever. Call me delusional faith, call me whatever you want. It's the same reason why I'm going to sit here and tell you unequivocally that Team Liquid is going to smash in G2's skull at MSI.
I can't say that because it's my boy Broken Blade. He's really all I have left of TSMs.
Broken Blade will go neutral with Impact, but it will be mid and bot, or we gap them.
Okay, that would be fine with me. I have no care in the world if Han Sama gets annihilated by Yon.
Yep.
Like, I mean, I would be happy.
By the way,
I would be sad.
We never got that matchup at Worlds last year, did we? Team Liquid never played G2.
Don't think so.
I want to see it. Because don't forget, Han Sama played in the main roster whenever Yon was in Academy in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
That they've scrimmed against each other for sure.
EU's a weird one because it's just like there's so much going on over there, and the teams, it seems like their top of the ladder is just stuck top.
Yep.
Like, and their bottom teams just can't figure it out. But they have one team that might make a run, and then for some reason just falls off as hard as they can at some point, like Mad Lions has. But it's always like super hard when they fall off.
To be fair, I don't know if Mad Lions would have finished second last split had like Adam not, cucked his team and imploded.
That's a true statement.
I think BDS is going to MSI alongside G2. Personally.
More than likely, yeah. I mean, Fnatic is just a wild one. That G2 series, I don't know, did you see it?
I saw bits and pieces, yeah.
The ending to the last game of it, bro, like, is literally just their Olaf goes in, has to waste R to run away because he gets caught. Somebody else gets caught. They're at tier 2 mid lane. Then they kill tier 2, they make a pick, they kill the tier 3, take the inhib, make a couple more picks and stuff, and then all of a sudden they just end the game. And it's like 20-something minutes. It doesn't even make sense. Like, they just literally started running it down, and it was really confusing to watch. And I was like, what is going on? Like, they just ran it down. Like they lost from tier 2 mid lane with 5 players alive. Like that's crazy. That should never happen. They just started getting picked off, and towers just kept getting taken. It was, ugh.
That's why
It definitely didn't make me go like, oh man, G2 is some world beaters, huh?
I
Like,
cannot wait for MSI. I really
if you
can't.
don't just straight walk into them, maybe they don't just constantly bash your going.
As long as we don't get cucked with the draw, we're in for such a good tournament.
Yeah.
Because I feel like NA versus EU is so goddamn close. And if we can officially put the boot down on Europe, oh man, it would mean so much. It would mean so much.
It would also be really nice to see like NA or EU team challenge an Eastern team this run.
I don't know if that's gonna happen.
I know it's probably not going to happen, but it would be nice, and I'm hoping that they both play each other up to where like one of them has a shot to play an Eastern team.
Yeah.
In a good match, because lately it's just been us knocking each other out, which isn't a bad thing. Good to build those rivalries and to have those foundations. But it does feel like we're due for a Western Warrior squad again. Like,
I don't think
it's been a
so.
while.
I just don't get that feeling. I
You
don't
think we
know if
stand a chance?
I feel like we're still like 5 or 6 years away and like new generation of talent before we get another G2 or another like 2018 C9 miracle run. Like I just don't feel
Yeah.
like we're close. Because of that, like that's why I'm so heavily waiting just our ability to beat Europe. Cuz it's going to mean so much. But if we do get an upset over an Eastern team, oh, if we do,
It's gonna be a big deal.
I might cry.
It's gonna be a huge deal, dude.
I might legitimately cry.
Eh, it's just the way it seems to go with the league right now. I mean, the game is kind of fighting to live in the West. Well, no, not EU. EU's doing, I would
EU's
say,
doing
really good.
phenomenal.
They're doing really good, but we are fighting for our lives. So I guess it would be a large expectation for me to expect us to beat an Eastern team.
I don't know. Just get me to the point where I can shit talk Brazilian fans and get myself barred from ever going to Sao Paulo.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
Anything else you want to?
I don't need that.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add before we end this?
No, I feel like we've mentioned everything I really care about. I'm kind of bored because I'm just waiting for NRG to come back, but I guess I'll watch some Scrubs play at MSI and then move on.
I'm gonna see if we can get a guest on next week since we obviously have some downtime before everything kicks off. Because otherwise, you know, it's gonna end up being just talking about general league and how good we are at low budget LCS. Speaking of which, do you want to play a solo queue game after this?
Yeah.
Right. Sweet.
We are like kind of we're a pretty big deal
We are.
in LVLCS.
We are.
I hate to say it, but we are a pretty big deal. We are clinched first place with a week to go.
And I am gonna play Shen ADC.
No.
If we go up 1,
I have not voted for.
If we go up 1-0, I'm playing Shen ADC.
I don't know about that.
Come on. If we go up 1-0 and I go deathless in game 1, let me play Shen ADC.
If you go deathless, fine. But you wait when I bait you in some bad engage and I go oops at the end of the game.
Nope. Not gonna happen.
I'll hack your computer and freaking what is it? I'll hack your computer and flash you into the fountain.
I'll report you to Riot.
All right.
Get you IP banned.
Yeah, okay.
See, I agree with Dylan. All right. That's it for us, ladies and gentlemen. I know kind of a quieter, somber note. Sorry, I'm exhausted from work, so my energy is a little bit lower. But thank you all for tuning in. We'll catch you next week. I'll probably be live Friday to play some games. Wait, do we have our match tomorrow?
Wait. Yes. Tomorrow at 10 p.m.
Never mind. I'll be live tomorrow at 10 p.m. For our final week of the low budget LCS. Are you going to be there for, or no, it's only Healy that's not going to be there, right?
No, Healy will. Our whole starting five will be there.
Oh, I thought Healy said he couldn't do Thursdays for some reason.
No, he can do it this week. He has D&D with his friends. He was kind, and he took it off to be nice.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. See
And
y'all.
Mark is an evil man who doesn't let him play with his friends.
Exactly.
All right.
See y'all. See y'all tomorrow.